So many bass lines are created using simple triads. So in this lesson, I'm going to teach you 3 very easy patterns that you can use to make your bass lines sound more solid and really musical. So what we'll do is I will show you the triads first, then we'll go through some chord progressions and ramp it up a little bit with some fills. So here we go. We're in the key of F sharp minor, and I'll just run through all the triads that you can get from that key. So there are 7 triads, but actually there are only 3 shapes, and they're all found within the first 3 triads. So here we go, F sharp minor. We have F sharp, A and C sharp played with fingers 1, 4 and 3. I want you to memorize that pattern. Wherever your first finger is the name of that minor triad. And in this key, if you place your finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, the B, you'll get a B minor triad. 2 frets higher to C sharp, you'll get a C sharp minor triad. That's just one pattern. You can already hear almost a bass line coming up if you just play around with those 3 positions. If we go to the 2nd triad, we have a G sharp diminished triad. If we talk about finger numbers for minor, it's 1, 4, 3. This one would be 3, 1, 4. And again, I want you to memorize that pattern. It's a G sharp diminished triad. If you go to the A with your 2nd finger, we have the final shape I want you to memorize for this lesson, and that's just a major triad. In this case, A, C sharp and E. Fingers 2, 1 and 4. Let's look at a few chord progressions that I've written out. So first one, F sharp minor 7, D major 7, C sharp 7 and F sharp minor 7. A couple of things here, you'll see some 7s there. Ignore them. If you see a lowercase m, that refers to minor, so F sharp minor. All you're going to do is play the relevant triad shape, which is this one. Then we have D major 7. Again, we're going to ignore that, D major triad. That was the one where you use your fingers 2, 1 and 4. In the key, you may notice that we had C sharp minor 7, but now we've got C sharp 7. That stands for C sharp dominant 7th, and again, we're going to ignore it, the 7, and just play a C sharp major triad. That's something you can do in the key. On the 5th degree of the scale, you can play a dominant chord. Let's not go into that too much, just let's play a C sharp major triad. Back to F sharp minor 7. I'm going to go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no backing track, there's no metronome, it's just us exploring the sound. And you can hear that we are outlining the harmony, and that's one of the most important things about triads, is that they're telling you whether the chord is minor or major or diminished, in the case of that G sharp. You could, of course, just play simple root notes. To D, C sharp, back to F sharp. The triads give us a little bit more to work with. Even with nothing going on in the background, you can hear now that the harmony is outlined. Let's do this. We're going to go A, D, E, F sharp minor. So if there's no little m after a letter, it just means major. So A major triad, D major triad, E major triad. There's the A, 5th fret, E string. This is a great reason why you need to know your notes. If you know your notes, you just apply the pattern and bang, you're there. D, 5th fret, A string, 2 frets higher, E. And then F sharp minor, 2 frets higher than that, with the minor triad. The lines separate bars, so 1, 2, 3, 4 is a bar, and we can do any style in our heads. I mean, let's make something up now. So 1 bar per chord. I'm not saying this is the greatest bass line in the world, I'm making this up on the spot, but I'm sure that you can hear that this sounds a bit like music, and you can probably hear lots of famous bass lines that contain stuff like this. Let's use that G sharp diminished triad that we learnt as the third one of these 3 shapes. And we can play that in a minor 2-5-1. Returning to our chart where we had all the triads in F sharp minor, you can see some Roman numerals. And they refer to the chords that you get within a key. And if they're lowercase, they're minor, and if they're uppercase, they're major. So the 2 chord is the chord built on the 2nd degree of the scale. The 5 chord is built on the 5th degree of the scale, and the 1 chord on the 1st degree. Now actually we borrow a chord here because C sharp 7 is not in the original key. That's generally what happens in a minor 2-5-1. So we have a G sharp minor 7 flat 5, which we'll just use that diminished triad. C sharp 7, that's just a C sharp major triad. F sharp minor. We're slightly limited here because I'm not playing any of the 7ths. I'm not playing any other notes, so I'm not really able to create a very good walking bass line, for example, because I need that other stuff. If you do want to get into 7th arpeggios, modes, etc., I've got a music theory course, link in the description. But you can do this. That's G sharp diminished triad. You can jump an octave and just play the same thing up the octave. And you can do that for all of them. Here, where you can get to the octave. F sharp minor. You can play the exact same shape on the 4th fret of the D string. There we can just use triads and we can get a walking bass line. Let's move on to a major 2-5-1 chord progression. The relative major of F sharp minor is A. So the 2 would be B minor 7. So I'm just playing the minor triad on B. Then we have E7, so I'll play the E major triad on E, 7th fret A string, down to the 5th fret E string, A major. I keep just thinking the Mavericks. Whenever you play triads like that, it sounds like the Mavericks, doesn't it? And that's the thing. There are other patterns. For this lesson, we're keeping it simple, just as a little preview. An A major triad, you can play like that with your 2nd finger, like this with your little finger, or with your 1st finger. And I like that because you can do this. Sort of like Paul McCartney style slide into a note there. So here's how I suggest you learn this. We're in the key of F sharp minor, and just go through every single note of the scale, trying to memorize the triads as we go. F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, A major, B minor to C sharp minor. If I'd stop right there, the 1, 4 and 5 are all minor. That's a nice little way to remember that. Then we've got 2 majors in a row, D to E. F sharp minor again. And then what you can do is you can just sort of randomly make up your own chord progressions. For example, I'll start on the place that I just ended and go down F sharp minor, E major, D major. You would have heard bass lines or songs that go like this kind of thing. We're not going to do this, but chords F sharp minor, E to D. The bass line, though, we can make up lines using the notes of that triad. We don't even need to use them all. We could maybe use the root and the third. What key are we in this example? F sharp minor. Those notes, which you can learn in different places. And you don't have to be so prescriptive playing in the same places. Play an F sharp down here, E to D, or F sharp to E. I'm actually not using triads at all here. I'm using root notes, which are very simple but very effective. In truth, good bass lines are made up of a lot of different types of things. Triads, scale notes, and let's not forget your sense of rhythm, what flair you put into it, your musicality. You know, if you really break down bass lines, it's all about lots of different things coming together at the same time. And again, I teach all of these things in my courses, link down below. Once you go through all the triads of a key, don't forget that there is a relative major. Basically, play the third note of the minor scale. And whatever note that is the relative major. And there, the 1, 4, and 5, they're all major. That's how I remember that. That's all major down here. That's all minor. And I've suddenly got 6 triads memorized, and you can play this in lots of different keys. Then I urge you to listen to bass lines and try and listen out for ones where you think this kind of thing is going on. Not every bass line uses triads. You might just be using root notes. It might be far simpler. And of course, it might be far more difficult as well. So try and get something simple, listen to it, figure this stuff out yourself. I'll put a link below to a PDF with all those triads for the F sharp minor key, and then you can just memorize them and get to work trying to add them into your own bass lines. Thanks for watching. See you next time.